Howdy, folks. I am a cranky crawfish,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Alright, folks. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for kicking out my girlfriend over anime figurines? I'm a 29-year-old male, and I'm a huge fan of anime. I have been collecting anime figurines for the past 10 years, the first figurine being a gift from my late older sister. I had a huge collection of over 90 figurines, Figmas, scale statues, Gunpla models, etc., which I kept in a display case in our bedroom. When my older sister passed away a few years back, I received her massive collection of figurines. For obvious reasons, the collection I had was very near and dear to me. My girlfriend, a 27-year-old female, has always known about my collection and has never had a problem with it in the past. However, recently, she started becoming more and more critical of my collection. She says that it's taking up too much space in our room and that it's childish. She also says that I'm spending too much money on expanding my collection. I try to explain to her that it's my collection and it's important to me and that I'm not going to get rid of it, but she just doesn't seem to understand. The majority of my collection was given to me after my sister's passing, and it was a hobby that we both shared and bonded over. Well, last week I came home from work and I saw her moving a bunch of my figurines from the display case that I had set up into a cardboard box. I asked her what she was doing, and she said that she was taking them up to the attic. For more context, my display cases take up a lot of room, and we've been needing more space in our shared bedroom. I was reluctant, but eventually agreed to store the collection. Well, this past weekend, I went up to the attic to grab one of my figurines to show to an online friend, and the entire box was missing. This, of course, started an intense argument with my girlfriend, in which she eventually admitted that she gave away my collection. When I pressed her on why she would do that, she said that I needed to grow up, as I'm almost 30 years old. She also said that she's tired of dating a man-child, and thought that I would grow out of it eventually. Well, afterwards, I told her that I no longer wanted to be with her and that she needed to find another place to stay for the night. I don't have many hobbies, but this is something that's extremely important to me. I feel like this hobby keeps a part of my sister alive, and I'm really hurt by what she did. I still love her, and I thought that she loved me too. But I don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't accept things that I hold most dear. I've had time to cool down about the fight, and she's staying at her mother's house at the moment, but I don't know if I've made the right choice. I asked my father for some advice, and he told me that my sister wouldn't want her hobby to cause my relationship issues, but I'm not sure if I should take her back unless I get a huge apology and my collection back. I want her to know that this is more than just a hobby for me. Am I the jerk for kicking out my girlfriend over anime figures? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Definitely not the jerk. OP, like, you are well within your right to have hobbies and to have things that you enjoy in your house. And there is nothing childish about having mementos.
Yeah, I mean, my only question is kicking her out of the house, if this is his, is if he actually owns the house, or I don't really know the logistics of it because that's her place to live as well. So I don't think that he's wrong with being upset with her or not or wanting space.
Yeah, well, I think it just seems like it's a typical breakup where we can't both be in a place at once, and so she's staying with her mom. I mean, I think your dad is not giving good advice here because it's not he says your sister wouldn't want her hobby to cause my relationship issues. Your girlfriend has basically said that your connection to your sister is unimportant, that she doesn't care how much these mean to you
Yeah.
because it's all about appearances for her.
Yeah, I think that this is pretty problematic, and I don't think that you're going to get the apology that you're looking for, OP, because I don't think she's remorseful. I don't think she's sorry. I think she thinks that this is childish and it's something that you are going to get over. And I think that's the expectation she's going to have for pretty much ever.
Well, and that's the thing is if someone is a certain way, you are allowed to break up with them. So if this was a deal breaker for her, she could have broken up with OP at any point along the line.
Yeah.
But you cannot take away someone's stuff and force a change in them.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this so many times where somebody in a relationship tries to take away someone else's possessions because they don't like them for one reason or another, and every single time we see it, it's still wrong. And I mean, I think this is just a gentle reminder that it is still wrong. So I don't think that OP is in the wrong here, and I think that his girlfriend, if anything, is the one who needs to grow up.
Yeah, well, and honestly, like, even if there was no special memories relating to the sister attached, OP would still have a right to collect things that he enjoys.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, making a compromise and moving most of them into the attic if there's not room in the shared space. I think that was a reasonable ask. I don't think she should have just taken them without talking to
Yeah, the
OP.
unilateral bit was a bit much for me.
But definitely giving things away without OP's permission, no. That is not a good partner.
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. All right, folks, our next letter, by special request from Amber, is titled, Am I a Jerk for Wearing White to My Cousin's Wedding? Hello, this is a throwaway. I'm a 24-year-old female, and I was asked to be a bridesmaid at my cousin Emma's wedding. She had started planning the wedding about a year ago when she got engaged. Obviously, us being cousins, Emma and I have known each other for a long time. For the longest time I could remember, Emma has said that she would not put up with anybody wearing white at her wedding, even if it was a close family member. Made sense. After she was engaged, and I was asked to be a bridesmaid, she sent out an informational email about all the details that I and the rest of the bridal party needed to know. This includes bridesmaids' dresses, and I was pretty surprised to see that Emma essentially asked us to buy long white dresses for bridesmaid dresses, given what she had said in the past. I called her about this and joked around with her about this, and at least on the phone, she seemed amused. I really like the idea of an all-white bridal party, especially since it's a trend right now. So I bought the white bridesmaid's dress. Well, the day of the wedding, which was last week, it was the first time that any of us saw each other in our bridesmaid dresses, since Emma didn't really require it before. Cue my shock when I see all 5 of the other bridesmaids wearing long pink dresses. They were horrified to see me in white. Emma promptly screamed at me when she saw me and asked what I thought I was doing, wearing a white dress. I replied that she literally told me to which she responded that if I had really known her, that I would have known that she would never want anyone else to wear white at her wedding except her. Cue more screaming before she kicked me out of the wedding altogether. I was humiliated. I have been getting angry calls and texts from Emma and a few other family members saying that it was disgraceful for me to act this way. I fought with Emma the other day on the phone and asked why she literally asked me to wear a white bridesmaid's dress when all the other girls were wearing pink. She repeated the same thing before, where everybody knows that she wouldn't want white. Something else that she added was that she knew that I had supposedly been jealous of her and her fiancé and how I couldn't just stand to see him with another woman, and that I subconsciously wanted to wear white because I'm supposedly in love with him. Emma's fiancé and I dated briefly 1 month about 4 years ago before we broke up, and I haven't thought of him since. I don't know if this was a soul loyalty test to prove that I didn't have feelings for him, but I'm starting to wonder if there were any signs that I missed, and that wearing white shouldn't have been a consideration since I know how she feels about it. After all, the other bridesmaids were wearing pink, so am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
No, OP, this was a setup. Like, maybe you could have tried clarifying with the other bridesmaids, but they may very well have been in on this with her. Like, I don't know her exact motives, but she very clearly did this to you deliberately.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a couple of comments that OP ends up having, basically saying that they've texted screenshots of the emails to other bridesmaids proving OP's innocence, and I guess they're just kind of waiting to see what other people have to say at this point in time. And it's one of those situations where it seems like OP's cousin really went out of their way to set OP up. If they didn't email everyone in the same group, then that tells you that she was kind of being shady, because usually you'll have emails where everyone's going to be attached to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that should have been OP's first big red flag, is that if she received an email and none of the other bridesmaids were on it, then why would she be the only one with this email?
Yeah, well, and like she may have, some people do handle things individually, so it may just be the cousin style, but yeah, I just feel bad for OP, and I don't blame her for, like, yeah, maybe like knowing your cousin doesn't want, has said for years that no one should wear white to her wedding. Maybe OP could have read into it more. But anyone who tells someone to wear white to their wedding and gets mad has no leg to stand on.
Yeah, well, it's clear that she did this to cause a scene and to get OP kicked out of the wedding, and then maybe even to get some pity during the ceremony about this. And it's clear that she wanted to not just hurt OP, but ruin her reputation as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, we have an update. This update involves the one where we read the other day that she was given a parting gift of $1,000 from her coworkers, and the reason why they gave her that $1,000 is because they thought she was pregnant.
But they never conveyed this to OP. OP thought it was just a general leaving present, and now they're trying to get their money back.
Yeah, exactly.
3 years later.
Yeah. And I think that was on the live stream. So, tiniest update / resolution before I go back to my main account again. A small treat for the people who visit this profile, because after 2,000 comments, I feel like I needed to have a resolution. But I also feel like the resolution is a bit more deflating of a balloon noise than anything else, so be warned, it's kind of a lame ending. Well, HR emailed on Tuesday asking if we could set up a meeting on Thursday, and the we being me, my boss, and someone from HR. Also, this was a video call because I no longer live in the area, and it wasn't entirely clear in my first post, but to be fair to me, I was also not in the best of moods while writing this one out. Well, the HR lady, uncertain if it was the same woman from Friday, I do not remember her name, I didn't anticipate needing to take notes when the call began. It started off by asking, "Did you ever tell any of your coworkers that you were pregnant?" And me going, "No." And then, before I said anything else, the HR lady saying something like, "Well, that's all then. We don't need you for anything else." Straight up dismissed like a small child. I asked something, not at all to articulate something like, "What do you mean this is over? This was apparently a huge hecking deal." And the HR lady said that it was all just a misunderstanding, and apparently only the one of the coworkers who had set up the collection was upset and to hear that I wasn't pregnant, and that she had only requested her contribution back, which I'm calling BS on, because return the $1,000 and return her individual contribution to the total do not sound alike, but whatever. And the coworker had retracted her request when the boss spoke to her. So I asked her about what her contribution was, and she even retracted it was obviously big enough issue for her to raise it in the first place. The HR and boss did not know, so the boss said that he would check and get back to me, and that was that. I signed off of the meeting and spent the rest of the day completely unable to focus on my work. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was $50. I put a check in the mail to the office. Attention, co-worker this morning. I'm done with this whole thing. No idea what the rest of my old co-workers thought or how involved they actually were. I don't have contact with any of them. So many of the comments said to lie about the miscarriage and to shame them or get a lawyer and sue, but I don't really feel morally right lying about that. And honestly, I don't want this to be a long drawn out issue with lawyers and legalese, so I'm just calling it over and done at this point. I am, however, saving my original post to reread all the comments whenever I feel bad, because there were so many nice comments and all the stories of other people also being told that they look pregnant. I'm sorry that also this happened to you, but I'm also weirdly glad it did, because that means that I'm not alone in this awful feeling and knowing that it made the past week much softer to deal with. I really love Reddit. Heart. Alright folks, what do you think of that update?
Well, I mean, it's a resolution. I'm glad the company backed down, but I still don't know why they approached OP in the first place. It seems like it's well outside their scope.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I think that this shouldn't have even been a request at this point in time. OP told them that they never said that they were pregnant, and that should have just been the end of it anyways, and been like, okay, well then there's no problem here. Not even, here, give them back $50, but I don't know. I guess some people are just really petty. So, I honestly think that OP probably made a good decision by giving the $50 back, because at least then they're not going to be bothered by this person anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. Alright, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she's got a joke.
Why do fish live in salt water?
Well, I'll tell you why fish live in salt water. It's a secret, but for a limited time, I guess I can reveal it. I mean, I know all of the fish secrets. So,
You have good friends who are fish?
I have very, very good friends who are fish if they've told me their secrets on why they live in salt water. And I'll tell you right after the message from our sponsor. Tea. It's tea. Fish live in salt water because, you see, their cells are set up so that they actually pump out the excess minerals, and so if they actually didn't live in salt water, then their cells would expand and explode, and that would be really bad because of osmosis. And so that's why fish live in salt water, the saltwater fish at least, because it would really cause them a lot of harm if they lived in non-salt water.
Because pepper makes them sneeze.
Can you imagine having an ocean of pepper? That would be horrifying. The horrifying imagery from that. Like, just like the giant waves with like the black speckles in it. And I have licorice spice. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Thanks to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, I need a moral, and please have it involve at least 5 crawfish.
So there's a twist to story number 2.
Oh, is there?
So it turns out those 5 bridesmaids, they were all crawfish. And so maybe that's why OP was asked. OP assumed she was wearing white because she was the only human, but no, it was just a setup. And the other bridesmaids look angry because crawfish always kind of, look angry and pinchery, but they don't really know what's going on.
It's more of a story and less of a moral.
I'm gonna go with it.
Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.